The politicians can oversimplify this, but the economists say that COVID-19 shutdowns, employees leaving the workforce, product shortages, billions in federal stimulus aid, all that pent-up consumer demand, plus Russia's war on Ukraine, they all pushed up inflation. We asked the two 3rd District congressional candidates about what's happened and what's ahead.
There is no single cause for inflation. I mean, let's just leave that. And I want to just put this out there because this is what we're hearing. I know somebody who got just a slight fender bender on 235 the other day. The gentleman who was driving that car who hit her got out and looked at it and said, well, I guess we have Biden and inflation to blame for that. And this is, so this is absolutely being used as a narrative to try and win the election. I absolutely have empathy for our families who are spending a little bit extra in the store and at the pump. I get it. I'm a mom myself. But, these narratives that somehow, we're not doing enough to make things better is ridiculous with all the legislation that we've passed that literally is saving Iowans money right now. Now, you asked about earlier, because what I will always do, and I think you know that with me, Dave, I always answer your questions. I'm not one of these other folks that won't get around to it. Yeah, I think we did put a little bit too much extra in. I've said that. We had to make sure that we shored up our economy, which we did. You did that. We did that on the fly. So think about that. Thinking about running a government while a worldwide pandemic is occurring for the very first time that people have ever experienced, right? Unfortunately, under a president who hid it from this country for a long time and did not do what he needed to do to keep Americans safe. Yes, not Joe Biden, the previous president, which exacerbated the issue. And so when President Biden got in, we had to get to work immediately to start rectifying the situation. And we did through multiple programs, Paycheck Protection Program. And then we sized that up to make sure it really hit on the businesses that needed it. That's what I'm saying. When you're doing things on the fly like that through an issue like this, it can't be perfect coming out of the gate. But what you can do is always fix it and make it better. And through the series of things, we invested in the Paycheck Protection Program, which kept money in people's pockets and our restaurants open and our small businesses open. We did the Shuttered Venues Act to make sure that great venues like XBK right over here could stay open, or the theater in Atlantic could literally keep its doors open, which is a huge part of that community. And then we ended with things like, continued support for extension to our hospitals, which I extended provider relief for our hospitals when they needed it. We needed to do that, Dave, but then we needed to hold back a little bit, right? And so we did not get a final stimulus check through. I think, if you remember that, some folks were pushing for that. We didn't do that. We didn't want to increase the debt anymore. But what we have done is created an economy coming out of this country that has fared well better than most other countries around the world coming out of the pandemic.
Economy, biggest issue to you, would you say? Is that fair?
Yeah, overwhelmingly. We've knocked on 100,000 doors, right? And at every single door, it's a conversation about inflation or economy. What can we do to help what they're personally experiencing? And we have seen folks, just in the last 2 years alone, Iowa savings has gone down by 75%, meaning everyday families are saving less. And what's really scary is we've got almost a 20% increase on Iowans carrying over credit card debt. We've always been one of these states that has very little credit card debt, and the last 2 years clearly have been hard on a lot of families.
Okay, so some of the storylines through the campaigns, Republicans really zone in on Democratic spending here. Economists say that's one facet of this.
Yeah.
The Democrats probably spent too much, but it's supply chain, pandemic, all kinds of stuff that's kind of exploded here. But we got the Fed doing a bunch of stuff with interest rates to try to cool things off. But do we just have to wait it out? Do you think in January with a new House, whatever the makeup is that something Congress has to have a role in, or what's the solution if there is one?
I think it needs to be the number one thing that Congress tackles. It's right there in Article 1. Congress has the responsibility for the purse strings of government. Right now we've had open purse strings. We've got some really good examples of how this can work, and I'll use Iowa. Iowa was one of the first states to recover from the 2-year pandemic. We did that by passing the largest tax cut in state history. Compliments to our governor. I think Governor Reynolds had a very, unknown future of what was going to happen there, and we pushed billions of dollars back to Iowans. What did they do with it? They invested in their families, in their communities, in their farms. These are things that help grow the economy indigenously. When we have a government tax and spend plan to the tune of $3 trillion, not only did it drive up the cost for everybody, it crowded the supply chain on the things the government was buying. So at the same time, you've got, and I will say, the Biden administration pushing forward a don't spend your money, but we're going to spend your tax dollars for you on key things. It cost everybody more. And you felt that whether you were trying to, buy a home, whether you were trying to buy a car, whether you were trying to go to school, everything was getting poured on with tax dollars that came out of your pocket for a federal spend plan.
So in your mind, is Congress's game plan, should it be, to oversimplify this, spend less, more tax cuts, or what?
I think that we've seen a lot of really good things happen that way in Iowa. We need to stop just the wish list spending that's coming out of Washington, D.C. right now. There's two very clear options in this. Look, you can either continue to raise taxes, as we've seen Congress do under the Democratic regime today, by hiring more 87,000 new tax collectors to go out there, charge people more, do more audits, try and raise revenue overwhelmingly out of small businesses and folks that make under $75,000. Or we can stop the bleed and say, we're not going to be spending as much money at the federal level. We pass a budget, and then we make sure that that money is returned to Americans. We did it in Iowa, and we saw our economy recover.
All right, the IRS thing is, the Democrats say that's not what they're going to do here. Are you arguing that it's too hard to get that money out of the rich people because of their attorneys and such, their accountants, all the luxuries they have?
We can absolutely, most Iowans want to pay their taxes the right way. The challenge is right now, and we've got a small business.
You do have people who aren't.
Yeah, and go after them then, absolutely.
But they argue that's what they're doing.
Oh, here's the reality. The people who are the biggest offenders are already on that target list, and they've already lawyered up.
So they're back with a priority pledge, but first, what has changed in this district?